Dave, I'm going to give you the full name here. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Borat, subsequent movie film, delivery of prodigious bride to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, dude. How Dave said it. Pronunciation not my strong suit. So, I mean, we all know Borat. This was directed by Jason Wallner, but really it's a Sacha Baron Cohen film. And character of Borat created way back with the Ali G show. Did you watch that growing up, the Ali G show?
No, I've seen a clip or two, but I was pretty much unfamiliar with Baron Cohen in general until Borat came out in '06.
It's funny because I really loved Ali G. I used to watch. I didn't like follow it like episode to episode, but we would legally download it. I would watch it. It was great. But I never really found myself gravitating towards Borat as a character. So when he kind of blew up, I was kind of like, okay, like
Big Bruno guy.
not even close to being a Bruno guy. Ali G though for like Booyakasha. Borat blew up back. When did the first movie drop? 2006.
'06. Yeah.
06.
Notably nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars.
Insane. And Sacha Baron Cohen since has just been like a rocket ship. You know, like we were talking last week during the trial of the Chicago 7. He is revered, I think, in comedy circles as not only this great like mockumentary maker and kind of stunt setup guy, but he's showing he has real acting chops. You know, rumored over the last 10 years to be attached to a Freddie Mercury.
Could have been.
Yeah, ended up not being part of that. And you can listen to our review on Bohemian Rhapsody. But Borat subsequent movie film coming out and being this really surprising movie because it wasn't just this like I think what made this movie work for me was that it wasn't just this like gotcha mockumentary film. It had a real heart to it at the center of like father-daughter relationships.
Sure.
And even though it's played through this absurdist prism of Borat and you know how he kind of mocks this like Middle Eastern what Americans think of Middle Eastern countries and society. I think where it kind of ends up is a real like story about fathers loving their daughters and valuing them and sacrificing for them. It's pretty interesting. What was your takeaway from the movie?
Yeah, I mean, when we heard about it, we heard Amazon acquired it. I was like, wow, kind of secret Borat sequel made 14 years later, more or less under the radar. There were some reports about Baron Cohen doing stuff in the summer, but there was no like, I think, official like connecting of those dots until quite recently. And that's pretty cool because it's hard to pull off. And, you know, watching the movie and seeing how Baron Cohen's able to like kind of do this stuff all over again by kind of simply just changing what Borat's wearing so he's not as recognizable. Man, I mean, on one hand, it's simple in its effectiveness in showing how, you know, the flaws of American society and the, you know, base level bigotry and hypocrisy that's rampant in how a lot of people here conduct themselves, right? And the movie felt really unique but necessary in '06, and then somehow feels the same way in 2020, despite we're living in a much crazier world where you don't think something like this would be nearly as effective, especially the second time around. But, you know, as you move into like COVID and you get really pointed about the Trump administration in this movie, I was surprised with still how effective a lot of the stuff is. Again, like the first movie, it's going to have controversial moments. Borat as a character is definitely not PC. There's a lot of stuff, you know, and under the guise of satire, you know, and that's how it's presented. But you are just going to piss some people off, right? There's some stuff with Jews once again that is definitely on the line, if not crossing it, right? And
yeah, it crosses it.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally parroting about anti-Semitism, and like again, like the point is right. Like, oh, well, I was told the Holocaust isn't real because of Facebook. So darn, because like the joke in the first movie was that his country was really proud of all the Kazakhs' role in the Holocaust, right? And it's like on one hand, it's a kind of a ingenious way to like wrap this thing around, but at the same time, you're still parroting like Holocaust denial, even in a joking fashion. I think that, and that's the thing with most people's problem would be, right, is that even if you're like jokingly and over the toply presenting these ridiculous views, like whether in this one COVID denialism, stuff like that, right?
Right.
Hillary Clinton is a vampire, stuff like that, right? You're still kind of like giving credence to the stuff, the way you're presenting it, and even jokingly your character, but like still kind of taking it seriously. So I understand why people wouldn't like it, but still a lot of funny stuff, man. And for me, I was less invested in like the father daughter relationship as like an actual plot mechanic for like the movie of it all, but just kind of scene to scene, gag to gag, you know. Some work better than others, but that's kind of where I was just most entertained. And the CPAC scene in particular, which did get news coverage at the time, is some really hilarious stuff. I mean, geez, when in the beginning, when he literally walks in a Klan robe, I'm like, oh my god, this is like, it's so on the nose, right? Because like closest thing we have to a modern day Klan rally, I guess. But doing that, and then like at first I thought it was like selectively edited, right? When he was like, yelling out to Pence, and then you see Pence look over. I'm like, oh well, maybe Pence was reacting to something else. This hadn't happened. And I remember, oh wait, no, Cohen literally went there.
Yeah.
Like waited. Apparently, he told the New York Times he waited in the bathroom for hours until his time was right.
5 hours.
Crazy. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, the dedication to the bit is really funny. The bit that I found probably most funny, and I didn't find research on this, so I'm sure maybe I could, if I dug a little harder, I could. But when he's kind of quarantining with these right wing guys,
QAnon guys,
oh my god, all of that was so hilarious, and I just found it to be such a really funny like microcosm of like this like quarantine period when everybody's like around like doing all this ridiculous stuff, but also like highlighting the QAnon absurdity and BS, and that leading to the scene where he's singing like we're gonna what did he keep saying?
The Wuhan flu.
And, we're gonna give them
blaming Obama, and like it was actually kind of, I was kind of impressed with the tune of the song.
Yeah,
really offensive racist song, but like it was actually like a well constructed like good comedic song, I guess.
Yeah, and it just was such a great like run in the middle of the film. And just to circle back, there is some controversy. Obviously, the anti-Semitism stuff is across the line in general, but there's some back and forth between Sacha Baron Cohen's camp and the survivor who he talks to in the temple, where the movie's dedicated to her. I'm forgetting her name. I'll look it up as you're talking next.
Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, and she gives a wonderful talk with him and is very loving and caring. Supposedly, she died after the movie, and her family is claiming she did not know the intention of how the movie's being used, and Baron Cohen saying that she was aware of it, that she was the only person that he told ahead of time, the bit he was doing because he didn't want to offend her being a survivor. Right. It's a very like touchy thing, but it kind of goes down to like that. These are real people who pretty much everybody in this movie was not an actor. The scene where they do the dance at the ball down in Georgia, was absolutely absurd, but they actually like sent out a online survey, and you had to be able to know who Mike Huckabee was, but not Will Ferrell or Sacha Baron Cohen, right? So they like were specifically picking people who they could dupe, but still, like these are people who are real people experiencing these absurd things happening.
I mean, this came up with the original movie too, but Baron Cohen is a Jewish man, and yet he's still really taking it as far as he can. And I don't know, I feel like that's up for Jewish people to decide at the end of the day. But their opinion matters more than mine on it. But and it seems like Kazakhstan, the real Kazakhstan, has kind of made their peace with Borat after initially really not liking what how it went down. Original movie, of course, banned throughout just about all of the Arab world at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it's notable, right? Because Baron Cohen as Borat, he doesn't speak Kazakh at all. He's speaking like Hebrew and I think
Mm-hmm. And
Polish when
Polish,
he's
yeah.
talking. And his village scenes are not actually shot in Kazakhstan; they're
No.
shot in Romania. So it's this big old mismatch of things, which again kind of fits with what he's going for because to most Americans, it's all a mismatch of things they don't know the difference between anyway, right?
Yep.
So again, like in Trump's America in 2020, I was actually still surprised with how effective like a lot of societal comment could be, because
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this with stuff like Veep, or eventually like
What
the
more can
old the
you
old way
say?
of lampooning stuff isn't as effective when reality is
Lampooning itself.
already lampooning what we previously expected
Yeah.
convention to be, right?
Yep.
But I was impressed with how successful subsequent movie film was ultimately.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was great success for
Mhm.
Borat, but I I guess I wanted to ask. This is where most of the attention for the movie has been by those who haven't seen it, and just kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
the Twitter talking head in general. Thoughts on the Rudy scene? Were you shocked by it? Did it?
yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? You can. I think Baron Cohen put it well. He's like, hey, you know what? You can watch the scene and make up your own mind. Whether he's adjusting just his mic
He's tucking it in,
or,
dude. He's
or
tucking.
taking out his dick, who's to say, right? I don't know. But you know what I did notice? He was really touchy feely with
Mm-hmm.
the actor playing his daughter. You know,
Yeah.
he was, you know, kind of crossing the line, and Baron Cohen kind of coming in to make sure it didn't actually go any farther because he's still a real human at the end of the day, and that's not what the plan was, right? So, I think what they were going for is what they got, right? Is like they're just gonna lampoon Giuliani, who's falling for their shit and their pretense, and the fact that he was couldn't help himself from being a creepy old man. That's just the benefit of the movie at the end of the day, and considering no harm ultimately was done, I think it's pretty good. It's hilarious to see everyone else chime in about it, and you have like Trump saying all this shit about Baron Cohen. He's like, "Hey, bro, thanks for the publicity,"
Yeah.
So I don't know, make up your mind, but I mean, he doesn't. Giuliani does not come across well in the
Mm-hmm.
scene, whether you think anything happened or not.
Yeah. No, I agree. Maria Bakalova plays Tutar, the daughter. I thought she was great, and I agree. Rudy, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think what he was doing, same when I
Yeah.
watched it, but obviously
Oh yeah.
everything was
You
fun.
can give me your number and address. Something he literally said.
Yeah,
What?
weird.
If that was anything professional related, his people working for him would have handled that stuff. Let's be real.
Totally. One last scene I want to shout out, just because I thought it was absolutely hilarious and appalling, was the baby inside me scene when
Oh my
they go to the
god.
doctor. That doctor, the fact he like signed off to like allow his image to be used is
Yeah.
uh, absolutely shocking to me.
Nope.
Just having a dad saying I put a baby inside my daughter right there, and just like being like, yeah, no, we gotta leave it like that. I mean, no matter where you kind of stand, that's at least a CPS call. Um, I I was dying laughing at it, but then I just like the more I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the further you get away from these things, they're funny, but
Yeah.
you're also kind of appalled at the level of
Yeah.
humanity and idiocy in a lot of these.
IndieWire did like a list of all like the scenes and like gags, and they actually reached out to everyone because again, just for the most, just about everybody that it's real people didn't know. Like, and obviously there's cameras around, so they're just told something else, and then they later sign off on it anyway. But it's kind of funny to hear what people say about what they thought was happening, and of course some people cannot be reached. Notably, in the credits for the racist song he sings at the rally, the two guys he was quarantining with are also credited as songwriters. So you wonder if they're actually in on it and like pseudo actors, or they literally just helped him write the song and thus are credited with it. Like, who's to say?
God, crazy. Check out Borat, Amazon Prime. Definitely gonna make you laugh a little bit, no matter which side of the aisle I think you're on.
Not